All right, for this one, we're doing something a little different. We're opening a time capsule. So our source material isn't your usual research paper or article. Nope, it's a speculative report, basically a message written by people in our time for the citizens of the year 2040. It's like a message in a bottle, tossed into the future.
Right off the bat, the report asks us to just pause. So, you know what? Let's do it. For the next few minutes, let's actually put ourselves in their shoes. Imagine it's 2040. Right now. We've just cracked open this message from us, in the past. What did they want to tell us? What were they hoping for?
So the people who wrote this, they're speaking directly to us. And you got to remember, they wrote this completely blind. They had no idea which of their fears would actually happen or which of their wildest dreams would come true. It's this incredibly raw, direct line of communication from people who were literally laying the groundwork for a world they knew they'd never get to see. And here's what's so cool about this. The core message, it's not some doom and gloom warning. It's actually a statement of faith, a bet on us, on humanity. They had this fundamental belief that no matter how chaotic or uncertain things got, people, at their core, would choose to build. Okay, so who were these builders? Who did the past think were the true architects of the future we're now living in? And the report is super clear about this. It wasn't governments or giant corporations. It was people, individuals. The report kind of paints this beautiful picture of who these unsung heroes were. You know, it was a person who, instead of just complaining, actually built a better system. The one who shared what they knew openly. The one who chose to work together instead of letting their ego get in the way. People who designed for a future they'd never meet. Who just left behind a little bit of evidence that someone, somewhere, cared.
And then there's this line, which just hits so hard. It says, the really big contributions, the ones that actually shape 2040, they didn't come from the most famous people or the loudest voices. They came from the folks who were doubted, the ones who were maybe a little too early, the ones who were just constantly underestimated.
So what exactly did this past generation leave for us? They're pretty upfront that they didn't solve everything, but what's fascinating is how they frame it. All that unfinished business wasn't a failure. It was a deliberate inheritance, a starting point for us. I mean, this is such a powerful way to think about it, right? They left us their mistakes. Why? So we wouldn't have to make the same ones. They left us their unfinished work. Why? So we could keep the momentum going, not have to start all over again from scratch. And they left us questions, because those questions were still the most important ones to be asking.
Okay, so that brings us to the next big part of the report. And here it kind of shifts gears. We go from this deep philosophy about humanity to the hardcore technology. It documents this incredible surge of invention that happened right before our time, in 2040, the breakthroughs that literally paved the way for our world. The authors pinpoint 10, just 10, revolutionary inventions. And this isn't just a list of buzzwords. These are the technologies they believed were actively reshaping reality. So let's run through them.
First up, no surprise here, generative AI at scale. This was the turning point. This is when AI went from being just a handy tool to being a real creative and analytical partner. The idea that you could generate code or images or text just from an idea. That didn't just speed things up, it completely changed who could be a creator. Number 2, multimodal AI. This is huge. This is when AI stopped being siloed. It started to understand text, images, audio, and data all at the same time, kind of like how we do. This was the key that unlocked AI's ability to actually perceive and interact with the real world. Third, we've got AI-assisted scientific discovery. Man, this was just a massive accelerator pedal for science. We're talking about AI proposing brand new materials, new drugs, new energy solutions. It took discovery timelines that used to be decades and compressed them down to months. The entire pace of science was just rewritten. All right, number 4 is a big one for the planet. Commercial fusion breakthroughs. This was the holy grail moment. For the very first time, we saw demonstrations of net energy gain, more power out than in. It was the proof that clean, nearly limitless fusion energy wasn't just sci-fi anymore, and that kicked off a global race to build it. Number 5 is the expansion of the mRNA platform. Yeah, so the tech that was a hero for vaccines suddenly became this incredible platform for all kinds of medicine. We started seeing it used for personalized cancer treatments and therapies for super rare diseases. It basically became a brand new pillar of modern medicine. 6th on the list, general-purpose robotics. This is when robots finally got, well, useful in the real world. They went from being these dumb, single-task arms on an assembly line to being truly adaptable systems that could learn and operate in messy, complex human environments. Think hospitals, construction sites. The physical world was finally opening up to automation.
Number 7, brain-computer interface prototypes. This sounds like something out of a movie, but it was real. The first human trials were demonstrating direct neural links with machines. It started with the goal of restoring function for patients, but wow, the door to a whole new future of human cognition was officially cracked open.
8th, something that might sound boring but is absolutely crucial, next-gen batteries. Seriously, this was a revolution in energy storage. Big advances in things like solid-state chemistry meant we suddenly had batteries that held way more power, charged way faster, and were so much safer. This was the quiet engine behind the EV explosion and making our power grid stable.
Coming in at number 9, carbon capture at industrial scale. For so long, this was just an idea on a whiteboard. But during this period, it moved from theory to actual operational infrastructure. For the first time, humanity had a real, scalable way to start pulling carbon out of the atmosphere. A game changer.
And rounding out the list at number 10, global real-time collaboration platforms. Basically, work, education, and just making stuff became borderless by default. Thanks to decentralized tools, huge groups of people could work together in real time without needing a big company or a central office to manage everything. Innovation just became global.
And then the report throws in this really important bit of perspective. It's like, to us, living in 2040, stuff like fusion power or smart robots might just feel normal, obvious even. But the authors remind us, back then, for them, these things felt pretty much impossible. They were the dreams they had to fight like hell to make real.
And that's how the report starts to wrap up. It comes full circle. It zooms out from all this grand, sweeping technology and brings the focus right back down to the individual, right back to us. The final section is a personal message. It's a direct call to action. And get this, the report even includes a quote from one of those early AIs. It's as if the AI itself knew its true purpose. It wasn't just to crunch numbers. It was to be a vessel, a way to carry our memories, our stories, our warnings, and our hopes forward through time. And that leaves us with a final charge from the past. It's this simple but incredibly powerful idea. History is shaped by participants. It's not a spectator sport. It's not just made by the big names, but by everyone who participates. The people who ask questions, who fix things, who rebuild. By opening this message, the report is basically saying, you're one of them now. The message is simple. We were here, now you are. Keep going.